This is a lesson on other strategies for multiplication. So last day you looked at how to use arrays and arranging base 10 blocks into rows and columns. The first strategy that we're going to look at in this lesson is using base 10 blocks again. Now this one doesn't use rows and columns as much, though you could do that if it made sense to you. So let's look at the example that we'll be using to look at all the strategies. There's 3 strategies in total. And the example goes, the prizes for the fun fair have arrived. Each package has 76 prizes. There are 3 packages. How many prizes are there? So we know that there are 3 packages and each package has 76 prizes. Now this is a time when we need to multiply. So this would be what we're finding is 76 times 3. So strategy 1 is using base 10 blocks. Here it is. So the first thing that we want to do is multiply the 10s by 3 and multiply the 1s by 3. So in order to do that, you'll notice, that didn't really work. I've got 76 across 3 times. See, I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 76 once, twice, and 3 times. Now this is the most visual way to do this. After I draw out my base 10 blocks along with my 1s, I will right below, I'll say that there's 3 times, because it's 1, 2, 3, and there's 70 in each of these. So 3 times 70. So I can look at this as 3 times 7, which is 21, and then I place that 0 right after my answer. And then over here, I would do a very similar thing, is multiplying the rows of this, or I guess there's 3 rows, by 6 total. So I would go 3 times 6, and 3 times 6 equals 18, and then I would add these 2 numbers together, 18 plus 210, just like saying this plus this, and that'll give me my answer. So if I go 210 plus 18, that will equal 228. So that would be the same thing as saying 76 times 3 equals 228. Yes, I realize that the dogs are making sound. Now, strategy number 2 is called expanded form. Now you did this in the first unit that we did this year, involving whole numbers. So remember, that's going like this right here. So if I have the number 76, then I break it down into 70 plus 6, because that would be 76. So remember, I'm taking the first number, putting a 0 after it, and then going plus, and then taking the second number. Then, after I put it into expanded form, then this is what I need to do. I need to multiply the 10s and multiply the 1s by 3. Okay, so I would go 3 times 70. There's 70, so 3 times 70, and that equals 210. And then I would go 3 times 6. So there's the 6. So 3 times 6 equals 18. Now you'll notice that this is, the same as the base 10 blocks after I've drawn it. So this is sort of like skipping drawing the base 10 blocks and just going right ahead and doing the equations. Okay, so if that works better for you, then you can do that. And then, just like the end of the base 10 blocks, you would end by adding 210 plus 18, and again, it equals 228. Now, this is the way that you're going to see it in your textbook. So, not like this, but down here, you'll see it in brackets. So, we still have this breaking it down into expanded form. We've got the 70 here and the 6 here, and we multiply them both by 3. So it would be 3 times 70 and 3 times 6. So I would know that this is right because this first number here, the smaller number, would appear in both of the brackets. So there's 3 there, and there's 3 there. And then we would put this second number with 2 digits into expanded form. So one of the numbers, 70, goes into one of the brackets, and 6 goes into the other. Okay, it's just a shorter way of writing it rather than doing all of this. So then we multiply 3 times 70, that equals 210. We multiply 3 times 6, that equals 18. Add those together, and we get 228. Now, if we flip to the back page, we've got our third strategy, and that is to break the number apart. So it's sort of like the one that we just did, but we are no longer writing out the steps. This would be the one with the least amount of writing, but might be the most tricky one if you're not used to it. So we would write the larger number on top of the smaller number, so 76 times 3. And then first step, in this spot here, right underneath the equal line, we would multiply the ones. So that's 3 times 6, and we would write it right here, 318, making sure that the ones are lined up in the ones column here. 8 being the ones number. Then we would multiply the tens. So we would multiply 3 by the tens. So again, that's 3 times 70. So you'll notice all of them is multiplying 3 times 70 and 3 times 6 and then adding them together. So once I get 3 times 70, don't get mixed up. This is where you could get tricked, is you might go 3 times 7, but it would be 3 times 70. Otherwise, you'll get a completely wrong answer. If I did just 3 times 7, I would get a 2 here and a 1 here. It would end up being 18 plus 21. And we need 18 plus 210. So that extra 0 right there is important. And then we would add them all together, again, making sure that all of the ones are lined up in the ones column, tens in the tens column, and hundreds in the hundreds column. Okay, so that's the explanation for all 3 of the strategies. You're definitely going to need to know how to do this one in your textbook. The first question is going to give you something like this, and you're going to have to tell us what number would go there. Okay, so that's part of the explanation. Make sure you rewatch that part of the video if you weren't sure. And if you think you're good on all the strategies, then here's the practice. We've got 43 times 5, 82 times 2, and a problem, which will end up being 56 times 7. Okay, so you need to pause the video and we'll do this once you've finished. Okay, whoops. So I'm going to show all 3 strategies. You may have just used one, but for the first one, I'll do the first strategy that we learned. So that was base 10 blocks. So I've got 43 times 5. So I'd make 43, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. So I need to do this 5 times. So there's 1. So do again. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 43 5 times. So now this is what I do. I times the tens. So I've got 10, 20, 30, 40. So I've got 5 times 40 here. And then I would have 1, 2, 3 times 5. Again, so 5 times 3. And I'm going to write that up here because I'm running out of space. So 5 times 40, that equals, so 5 times 4 is 20. And then I put that extra 0 on the end. And then I need to do 5 times 3. That equals 15. So now I add those 2 numbers together. 200 plus 15 equals 215. So that means that 43 times 5 equals 215. Okay, moving on to the next one. Our strategy, secondly, was the expanded form. So I will go, oops, I have to put 82 into expanded form first, so that's 80 plus 2. So in my first bracket, I will have 2 times 80, and I will add that to 2 times, right there, 2. So right here, I'm going to have to multiply, and I'm going to have to multiply this. So thinking the easy way, 2 times 8 is 16, and then I'll carry that 0 on after. And 2 times 2 here is 4. So 160 plus 4 equals 164. So that means that 82 times 2 equals 164. And the last question that we've got here says there are 56 balloons in each package. Kim bought 7 packages for his carnival game. How many balloons has he bought? So that means that we've got 56, and we need to multiply it by 7. Okay, so first I'm going to multiply the ones. So I have to go 7 times 6. 7 times 6, oops, equals 42. Notice how my 1s are lined up and my 10s are lined up. Then I'm going to go 7 times 50. And 7 times 50 equals, well, I've got 35, and I put that 0 on the end. So that equals 350. Okay, so that's that one, that's that one. This part you could do in your head if you're proficient at remembering to keep that 0. You might need to write it down to start though for your first few. Okay, and then we just have to add. So we have a 2, 4 plus 5 is 9, and 3 to end. And we need, since this is the problem, we have to answer in the form of a sentence. So how many balloons has he? Kim bought 392 balloons. Okay, so your assignment then is on page 292, and it's questions 1 to 4 and 7.